Oh my, we have had a month. We had the whole Team Fortress thing happen, and I've been working on a couple of other things, but in the background, two pretty significant updates, one for Deadlock and one for Dota 2, were pushed. They were more packed than we've seen for years, maybe. So before we really jump into what was found within those updates, the normal HLX files kind of video, I want to touch on one really important thing. We don't know when this game is going to be announced. Honest to God, it could be any day. Could be tomorrow, but it could also be next year. Valve is a big old building of perfectionists, so they're not going to announce it until they're good and ready to do so. But all of the evidence, from conversations with people, to the internal code of all of their ongoing games, to just everybody else in the industry kind of all agreeing that this is gonna happen, it doesn't matter. Valve is going to decide when it happens. And yes, Jeff Keighley has the Summer Games Fest thing coming up soon. No, I don't think it'll be there. Of course, there's always a possibility it will be. There's a possibility it'll be literally any day. So don't go into the not E3, time of the year expecting Valve to make that big announcement. You're just gonna get disappointed. Go in with low expectations, and hell, if something shocking happens, that just makes it even better. But don't let all the cool new information I have about HLX and its development convince you that we're going to be seeing the announcement at a specific showcase. We don't know, and it's more than likely not going to happen. Okay, are we in agreement? Good, so we can get started. Alright, so real quick, because if you've been watching the channel for any length of time, you probably know I don't mess around when it comes to my setup. I sit for, 10 hours a day minimum? Editing, researching, gaming, streaming, it all adds up. So yeah, having a chair that doesn't actively try to kill my spine has been kinda critical. This one's the FlexiSpot C7 Max, and it's no joke. It's held up better than anything else I've sat in. Fully adjustable, headrest tilts, lumbar actually supports where your back needs it to, and the seat depth is customizable, which I didn't even know I cared about until I had it. Memory foam and latex cushion combo, so you're not shifting around every 20 minutes or so. 5-dimensional armrests when you're typing, gaming, or just sitting there thinking about, failure, I guess. They've got a big sale going on, up to 60% off right now. You can use my code for an extra $30 off the C7 series. There's a 30-day return policy and a 10-year warranty. Link down below. All right, back to the actual content. As I said the last few times, we're so late into development at this point that going through each and every line of code is no longer important. So I'm just going to skim the most important stuff that's been found over the last month and a half. Saving and loading, something that is ubiquitous with long video games, something that everybody expects. But aside from Half-Life Alyx, no other Source Engine game, especially the ones currently in development, support a save and load system. And to be completely honest, Half-Life Alyx was effectively relying on Source 1's way of saving and loading. It was a legacy system. There are no in-development games for Source 2 right now that would even need a save and load system aside from HLX. And this system is being completely rewritten from scratch and is quite robust. A complete rewrite to a save load system has no bearing on how a game is played. Instead, this is the kind of work that's done at the end of development. Like one of the previous videos where we talked about FSR being implemented and it showing that Valve is nearing the end of development, this is something entirely written from scratch with a lot of work put in just to make sure that the game is increasing its general quality. This is a polished step. Yes, in development games of this type definitely need a save and load system, but through development you could have relied on Source 1's legacy system and planned for the new save load system to be rewritten once the game was pretty much finalized from a mechanical standpoint, because now this system will allow for any entity within the state of the world to be edited in the save file if this code is to be believed at face value. And all of this code related to a save and load system is only about 2 to 3 months old. I want to give a shout out to Kayla on my Discord server for the findings related to the save load system. Source 2's support for meshlets, surface properties having attributes specifically related to vehicle-based gameplay, vehicle transportation for both the player and NPCs, and vice versa, meaning the player can be in vehicles that are driven by NPCs and NPCs can be in vehicles driven by the player. Electrical interactions being another simulated system in the same way that we have flammability and material deformation. We now have strings related to electrification of surfaces and props. The ability to control the elements, quote unquote, fire and electricity and water and ice, was something that was originally tried for Episode 3 and then again for Half-Life 3 in 2013, and now it seems to definitely be in this game. Particle, attribute, box, flags, electrified. Particle, attribute, box, flags, frozen. Fire sensor, penetrates shattered glass. Multi-threaded physics and asynchronous AI. This is an optimization step allowing for more of a computer to be able to process the many different systems within the world. And again, no, not like ChatGPT AI, traditional video game AI. Crawling and crouching height for both player and NPCs, along with forcing players to be put within a specific crouch state for specific scripted sequences. Half-Life has always had a sight and sound system for AI to react to. If a sound is made in one room, like a gun is fired, the enemies in other rooms will be alerted through that sound. That's being made significantly more complex and is being added to the base default AI NPC FGD file. Here's some fun sentences that describe flags in the game. On start, death. Fired when this NPC has begun dying before other death-related callbacks. Add attribute. We'll add an additional attribute that AI and player entities can query when checking props for information. For example, dog toy or grabbable resource. Ground and air navigation flags. Raycasting for cloth simulation. Hit groups for gibs. Damage levels for hit groups. More destructibility based on the part of the model that's being hit and that damage level being displayed over time. Fans. This seems to also be related with the wind controller. Wind is an interesting one. The wind system can interact with volumetric fog for flammability-based items. This wind system also seems to be placed in a fan system, which appears to be a specific gameplay element that allows for the player's NPCs or items to be pushed with a fan. I mean, this was in Half-Life 2, but hey, it's here. 3 new player flags, adding to a very old list from Half-Life 2. These being suppress save, in-vehicle, or in-vehicle transport. Are you in a place in the game where you shouldn't be allowed to save? Are you in a vehicle that you're driving? Or are you in a vehicle that's being driven for you? But it's, again, the kind of material that you would see done near the tail end of a game development cycle. It is an any day now thing. But this does not mean this is confirmed for Summer Games Fest or Gamescom Live or any of the things happening over the next few months. Like I said, it is possible to be announced tomorrow, but it is just as possible to be announced 1 year from now. We don't know. So yeah, that's it. That's all the Half-Life. Yep, you can go now. Bye-bye. That's enough. That's all I got for now. Thank you for watching. I'm Tyler McVicker, blah, blah, blah. You know how it goes. Yep. Okay, okay, they're probably gone. So there's been an issue going around with Half-Life related news and the Half-Life franchise in general. It seems as if you are willing to stake your name on the idea that there's a Half-Life game in development, literally every major gaming press outlet will love to use that thing that you just talked about to put in a headline. But if it turns out you were wrong, that doesn't fall on their shoulders. They were just quoting a source. The problem with that is the majority of the time that these kinds of stories are written, they get a lot of stuff wrong, or they make a lot of assumptions that weren't originally reported at all. For example, when we talked about the codename TF stuff, which I'm calling TFX, it's not actually codenames TFX, but let's just call it TFX. Quite a few people were quoting me and saying that I'm saying Team Fortress 3 is probably... I didn't say that. And if that doesn't happen, which I didn't say was going to happen, that looks badly on me, not you. If you're going to write an article about the findings that you see in a video of mine, or a video of Gabe followers, or anybody else that does this kind of thing independently and doesn't work for one of the major organizations, please reach out for context. A lot of information is lost in translation, and then everybody kind of copies each other's homework in this awkward game of telephone, and by the end of it, you're left with a report on a story that isn't even remotely close. So this is my plea. Please just be a bit more careful when reading articles about this topic in particular. If people are reporting on things that weren't originally said by the source, especially if the source is an independent content creator on a platform like YouTube, call it out, okay? Thank you. I'm Tyler McVicker, the Passionate Gamer. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for listening to me ramble. I hope you're having a great life. If you want to be able to keep up with everything as it's happening, most of the conversation happens in my Discord server. Invite link down in the description below. If you want to be able to watch some of these videos early and get your name in the credits, the best way to support me and support the whole process of creation is through my Patreon page, also down in the description below. Peace and hair grease. Adios.